You know, I go back and look at Canelo last fight, you know, man, I just don't see him being able to stand in there with GGG. You know what I mean? I look at the effect of the punches, you know, that the opponents, you know, how they react to the punches, man. Canelo just ain't got the power. He's not a big enough tiger to beat GGG. He ain't gonna be able to run through GGG like he ran through American. He's not gonna be able to get toe-to-toe with GGG like he did with James Kirkland. James Kirkland went out there and fought like a fool. He could have did a lot better if he would have did a little holding and had the right coach, and James Kirkland could have gave it a better fight. The Laura fight, Laura really did beat Canelo. If you slow it down and look at the, you know, how they was boxing, Canelo really wasn't getting too many headshots. He was getting a lot of body shots, but really a lot of those was hitting in the back of Laura's body and was getting blocked. With the HBO announcers were kind of throwing you off, but I think Laura beat Canelo. He beat Canelo. And what the fight? My Amir Khan. Okay, well you'll compare the Amir Khan fight to the GGG versus Kell Brook. You know, Amir Khan was slick, tearing Canelo ass up all fight. You know what I mean? Canelo defense wasn't proving that fight. You know what I mean? But he finally got Amir Khan out of there. Good punch to the chin around the fifth round. He got him, caught him. You know, I just don't see the power. The effect that his power is not still. Don't compare to GGG's, you know what I mean? GGG then knocked everybody down. Knocked them down. You hit the ground, you fight GGG. Now, let's compare, who else he fought? Liam Smith. You know, Liam Smith really ain't fighting no real competition, no known competition before the Canelo fight. He couldn't really withstand Canelo's power. Nah, we could talk about what other fight. Chavez, I just don't know what to say about that fight. You know, I think GGG fighting Chavez at 64, I think GGG would have knocked his ass out. Now, comparing competition with Canelo competition with GGG competition. Alright, David Lumnex beat the shit out of, I think David would beat Chavez. I think Danny Jacobs would knock Laura out. I think Willie Moreau Jr. will outbox James Kirkland. I think Kell Brook would beat Amir Khan. I think Dominic Wade will beat Liam Smith. I mean, Curtis Stevenson would beat a lot of the fighters that Canelo fought. Willie Moreau Jr. will give Canelo a very good fight. Everybody know Danny Jacobs will give Canelo a very, very hard fight. So, you know, Canelo hasn't been up to the competition. I think GGG had better competition than Canelo, you ask me. David Lumnick, Canelo ain't fought nobody that hit hard like that yet. Canelo is moving up to the weight that he's supposed to be. He was in the fight with Cotto, and Cotto was hitting him as hard as he could, but it wasn't enough. Amir Khan was catching him with some nice punches, but it wasn't hard enough. Liam Smith was catching him, but it wasn't hard enough. You know, Laura was catching him, but it wasn't hard enough. He was still the bigger fighter. Going against this dude right here, James Kirkland, just went in like a bulldog. He ain't had no defense, and then when he was getting hit, he didn't know when to hold and nothing. You know what I mean? It was just like a wild ass street fight with James Kirkland. Canelo was more fundamentally sound. You know what I mean? He used his fundamentals, man, and knew what to do. You know, he stayed calm. James Kirkland had the right coaching for that fight. That's why he got beat like that. Not saying that he would have beat Canelo, but it would have won at least 4 more rounds if he would have did it right. Laura, you know, Laura's a good ass fighter, you know. But Laura just wasn't big enough and couldn't stand can stand in there with Canelo. GGG's gonna be able to stand in there and box Canelo to the fucking end, and that's gonna be a major problem for Canelo. So I'm going with GGG guaranteed to win this fight, man. Canelo is not gonna be able to stand in there and fight GGG like he fought or take those punches. And you can say Canelo hit hard as you want. He hit hard, true indeed, but he don't hit like GGG hit. You feel me? When GGG first hit Kell Brook almost went down. You feel me? But Kell Brook knew how to hold and it prevented him from going down. And then he adjusted to the power like, God damn, this shit is can't get hit like that no more, But Canelo's not hitting nobody like GGG. He's not hitting nobody like that. Nobody. Fact.